In what way can photography be related to memes? The answer may be that they are largely irrelevant regarding their ways of circulation and relationships with reality. Between referential and indexical, between ambiguous and unambiguous. But we can first ask the question, what can memes learn from photography, and what about the other way around? Photography, whether digital or analog, retains its powerful function as a medium for social utility. The capacity of a photographic image embodies the particularity to show a specific side, with which people preserve, regard, and distribute evidence of their lives. Traditional and digital circulations of news and social media content reduce reality to representations and rely on symbols to transmit messages. Texts are added to images to provide additional context to sometimes colonize and transform the meaning. Photographic images thus become neutral and transform into illustrations of the texts. But now that technology has continuously lowered the barriers to production and distribution of images, the fine line between photography and memes is gradually diminishing. The photography's mechanism of social confirmation and manipulation of visual meanings have expanded by memes' affordances of multi-layered images combining texts with images, distributing to a broader scale of transcultural audiences. The easy reproduction of forms and ambiguity and the user's willfully generated immaterial labor in cultural production form various digital vernaculars and can be easily turned into a techno-liberal marketing project. Meme viewers are invited to read the meaning of their messages as shallow texts whose informational content is contained in its own referentiality, rather than fragments of tangled reality presented for interpretation. In this sense, memes are simultaneously an extension of photography and an amputation of it. But on top of this, why still bother comparing photography and memes, as their boundaries are disappearing? If photography acts as a pragmatic progenitor of meme images, the native speakers of the digital vernaculars can, in turn, expand their vocabularies with the great embrace of photography and visual culture. Looking at the contemporary social and cultural landscapes and examining how technical images are complicated by these practices become urgent. In my research, I focus mainly on polaroid photos, their entangled relationships with meme images, as well as new modes of encounters, relations, and subjectivities they embody, both as a photographic practice and as a resistance to the contemporary numbness and sadness. Why Polaroid specifically? It is not necessarily because the practice of analog photography is purposefully rejecting digital technology. I choose Polaroid because both instant analog photography and meme images can be seen as consumed relics, regardless of cultural and historical contexts. Dispensing with the long lag time between exposure and image and all the darkroom work in between, Polaroid photography anticipated the immediacy of digital photography. Picture making and picture viewing occur almost simultaneously, becoming a fun, party-like experience. It is about mediation of experience and the production of a quickly made and easily consumed relic of it. Similarly, memes are optimized for visual communication on the screen, protecting meanings and overcoming the distortions inherent to digital circulations while traveling across cyberspace. What is more, the two seem similar on the level and forms as cultural landscapes, in terms of their social functions, banality, and sets of vernacular. Just like Polaroid as a photographic apparatus for parties, memes as technical images in cultural consumption group people together. Whether the prevalence of snapshot photos or randomly layered memes, both convey a sense of banality whose immediacy makes banal moments visible. Performed by untutored amateurs in a diversity of milieus, both form specific vernaculars that facilitate cultural traction through wide reproduction and dissemination. Derrida, in his book The Postcard, states that there is no destination, by examining how a destination can, when taking into account, actively shift our interpretation of ideas. Viral images, however, are always destinated somewhere. They have become what Willem Fusser termed the gestural assemblages, where moods become formalized into repeatable symbolic statements. They are an amalgamation of symbols that draw our desensitization stimuli by media violence and its repercussion on real world, and the assemblages of, what here Loven says, the loss of narrative context, the constant now, the temporal gratification.
The images no longer represent the world. Those new images are now articulations of thought. They are not copies, but projections, models. So a new attitude toward the image is necessary, and I think it is developing.
Recent efforts have been seen as a nostalgic return to the analog, the handmade, and the physical, a digital revival of the manufacture of a Polaroid-like photo. Users can easily generate a heavily filtered digital photo with white borders by using algorithmic software. The societal desire for the physicality of analog technologies, what Miyake has termed as technostalgia, refers to a desire for the material security of hard technologies as anchored in the analog past, especially in a digitalized world experiencing the disintegration of physical time and space. Through the historical transformation from traditional images to technical ones produced by apparatus, images no longer signify the phenomena from the real world and instead signify the concepts that are produced by scientific codes. Willem Fusser points out that this lack of criticism of technical images is potentially dangerous at a time when technical images are in the process of displacing texts. Dangerous for the reason that the objectivity of technical images is an illusion. Fusser argues that the transformation of medium from traditional image to technical image alters the ways of reception that are increasingly indoctrinated through technology. He refers to the operating space of indoctrination as black box. Drawing upon the theories of Fusser, Maurice Coleman investigates the dynamics of how memes engage with their cultural context to trigger the large-scale memetic movements we witness today. In the digital realm, where content serves as a primary means through which we project our identities and connect with others, the consumption of content emerges as a pivotal force in uniting people socially. As Fusser observes, people no longer group themselves according to problems, but rather according to technical images. This shift signals a profound transformation in how we organize and relate to the world around us. In this sense, the urge to return to the analog past demonstrates perhaps a contemporary resistance to the viralness sustained by platform ideologies, stacks of reality, or, in Fusser's words, the scientific codes, where memories are nullified and largely absent. Both Susan Sontag and Roland Barthes associate photography with the concept of death, seeing photographs as frozen moments in time that highlight the impermanence of life. For both, photography evokes the sense that time has passed, and what is photographed is now gone. The sense of presence that is sustained by instant photography gives Polaroid photos a unique perspective on space, time, and death. They are rare witnesses to human experience, gone but like ghosts, refusing to be forgotten. However, while Sontag takes a more critical stance, viewing photography as potentially distancing people from the real lived experiences, Barthes, on the other hand, views photography as a deeply personal medium that can evoke powerful memories through its connection to the past. These counterpoints between the two on distancing and intimacy unfold the exact tension of meme images and photography in the contemporary context. Meme images, like photography, are fossils of the present, deprived of specificity, serving as decontextualized images. This then traces back to meme images as an extension of photography. Not only is the distinction between photography and memes increasingly diminished, this exact distinction also is reducing both into an interface of communication, in search of a lost time that we have never had been in, and an aesthetic form that only resonates with an illusional past, deprived of cultural specificities. In the realm of visual culture and production, the cultural effects of the memers and photographers are merely the distortion or rejection of the old ones, instead of creating the new. They form assemblages whose only indexicality is to other ideas.
因为什么是 A 并不是理想化。每一个真正的恋人都知道，如果你真的爱一个女人或男人呀，你不理想化他或她。爱意味着你接受一个人的所有缺点、愚蠢之处、丑陋之处。尽管如此，这个人绝对对你来说一切生命，这是个生活值得去过。但你在
Not only is the past lost, but so is the future. Mark Fisher, in his book Ghost of My Life, believes that the future is lost primarily due to the pervasive influence of neoliberal capitalism, which he argues has led to cultural, political, and societal stagnation. Fisher claims that the future, once imagined as open, progressive, and filled with potential for radical change, has been foreclosed. Essentially, the idea of a better or different future has been cancelled. We have to ask, is it still possible for new modes of subjectivity? Is technostalgia necessarily a trap? We still can acknowledge memes and photography as powerful media for resistance. The more alluring they are manipulated and layered for meaning making, the more powerful they are as a medium for potential resistance. The tension between preserving, imagining, and distributing is growing. Presence caught within the Polaroid does more than iron out the creases of our lived situation. It also does more than provide some nostalgic comfort for the coming future when we will cherish things which furnish us with evidence of what we ultimately lose. It can question our perception of the world around us, our sense of self within the past, and foreshadow the eventual disappearance of us all. This motivates my practice-based research of remediating memes through Polaroid photography. I select 6 memes that are feasible to be remade, giving them a personal retouch, and reformulating the process of creating memes on an alternative material base, which is chemical. Additionally, I filmed the process of remaking as an attempt to mobilize the memes instead of merely presenting the surface of images. The nature of memes and the artistic potential of instant photography offer ways of interchangeable meaning-making processes. By creating and removing layers of meanings of what is seen, the images can not only be easily attached to alternative themes like feminist struggles and identity, but also denaturalize the forms of polaroids and memes to create ghostly echoes of the original. Irina Azulay points out that, rather than looking for a new future, we should rewind history and unlearn our imperial rights, to continue to refuse imperial violence by making present what is invented as past, and making the repair of torn worlds the substance of politics. Filming the making of processes, to some extent, is a way to potentialize and contextualize viral circulations that took place in memes. Through creating spectacles that depart from the original contexts and grow narratives on their own, the remade memes denaturalize the screen-optimized visual communication and disambiguate the Polaroid aesthetics by the meme's very nature of ambiguity. Memes never address how the process unfolds, how the world of others can slip into ours, and how these worlds embody openness to one another. In response to this, the project also comes with a handmade zine. Through touching and feeling the textures of the items in the photo, the audience can sense the tactile memories embodied beyond the surface of images. At this point, let's go back to the question, is it still possible for new modes of subjectivity? May technostalgia be a trap? If we look closely at Mark Fisher's theory on ontology and lost future, we can question his determinist view on culture as way too Eurocentric. By overly focusing on what could have been, Fisher may unintentionally underplay opportunities for imagining and acting towards new futures. Some feel that his focus on melancholic repetition of cultural forms and political stasis glosses over spaces where innovation and resistance continue. One way out of this nostalgic trap is to look beyond the parameters of Polaroids and memes and to allow, in Hop Copper's words, what is seemingly separated in opposites to converge. Meme images constitute a flat ontology of becoming and unbecoming through connections, which make their meanings centerless and rhizomic. They are multiplicities, active, differential, and futile to demarcate. The substance that once contained the meme, whole and signified, now contains the dissolved meme, decomposed and asignified, but still present and still connected. They gesture vaguely in no direction and every direction all at once. There is no origin nor destination. Every meme Polaroid acts as a monologue, but also a new way of relating, one not only speaking for itself, one being a part of the other. The memes and the meme rhizome become a museum of accidents and shape, in Hitosteros' words, sites of encounter with digital capitalism and circulationism.